I don't want to start today's program with the I told you so's, so I'll just hit the button and then do it.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
Yesterday, I said to everybody that listens to this program, everybody that was frustrated, annoyed, disappointed in the return that the Diamondbacks got back for Eugenio Suarez, I said, be patient. Let us get to 3 o'clock yesterday. Let us see what Mike Hazen and the Arizona Diamondbacks have left up their sleeves. And boy, did they have a couple of nice tricks up their sleeves yesterday. First, it was the move sending Merrill Kelly to the Texas Rangers, getting back 3 pitching prospects. And then it was the move to send Shelby Miller to Milwaukee, along with Jordan Montgomery's contract, to save this team some money going into the rest of this season that should carry over into next season. We said to wait on judging the deadline because we wanted a complete picture. We wanted to see the entire return from this deadline for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I don't know how you look at the return that the Diamondbacks got, what they did to their prospect system, what they did to the short and long-term future of this organization, and you are not happy with what they were able to accomplish at the deadline. You're not happy that they were in that position in the first place, but they made the best, the absolute best, out of a bad situation over the last couple of days. After all the moves that they made, Josh Naylor, Randall Grichuk, Eugenio Suarez, Merrill Kelly, those 4 moves. This is what the Diamondbacks did to their top 30 prospects, according to MLB Pipeline. Does not include the 2025 draft class. They added the number 6 prospect in their system, Tyler Locklear, the number 7 prospect in their system, Cole Drake, the number 10 prospect, Mitch Bratt, 2 more top 15 prospects, 3 more prospects inside the top 25. This team got back 8 players that now fit into the top 30 of their system, according to MLB Pipeline. And these are not just your run-of-the-mill prospects that are lottery tickets for the future. Do we want to do the thing? Go name by name? How about the number 6 prospect, Tyler Locklear, who's going to be the starting first baseman for this club the rest of the way? Is going to be given every opportunity in the world to earn the 2026 starting job, who made a swing change this season that has seen him be able to catch up to the fastball better, tap into more of the power that he has, and he could be a middle of the lineup bat. A guy that you're going to get to see over the next 2 months. Not a prospect that you have to wait 3 years to see. You're going to see 2 months of Tyler Locklear playing first base for the Arizona Diamondbacks. What about Cole Drake, Mitch Bratt, David Hageman, the next 3 names on the list? Those, the 3 pitchers that they got back for Merrill Kelly in the deal with the Texas Rangers. Now, I'm no prospect expert. I'm not here to give you a detailed breakdown. But you know what I did yesterday when we all heard that Texas and Boston were teams that were flirting with the Diamondbacks when it came to Merrill Kelly? You know the first thing I did? I went to MLB Pipeline, I pulled up Fangraphs, and I looked at the top prospect list for these teams. And I put an emphasis on starting pitchers that are close to being big league ready with an ETA of 2026, maybe even 2027. And you know what I did? And producer Evan can check me on this. If you go and look at my Twitter timeline yesterday, I quote tweeted a tweet from, I think it was John Heyman, discussing that the Texas Rangers were in the mix. And I said, Cole Drake, ? A top 5 prospect in the Ranger system, a starter who had an ETA of 2026. It's as if what we had been telling you all along about what we thought the Diamondbacks should do, what we thought Mike Hazen would be up to this deadline, kind of a soft buy, even though he's selling, setting up the pieces on the chessboard for 2026 is exactly what happened. Because all 3 of those pitchers, Drake, Bratt, Hageman, all could be potential starting pitching options, especially the first 2, Cole Drake and Mitch Bratt, 2 left-handed starting pitching options that could very easily see action in 2026 for the Diamondbacks rotation. And oh, by the way, the next 4 on the list, Ashton Izzy, Brandon Garcia, Hunter Cranton, Juan Burgos, 2 of those guys, Garcia and Burgos, I think, are going to be in the big league bullpen, if not already in the big league bullpen. And this list doesn't include Andrew Hoffman, the guy they got back in the Grichuk trade, who I think may be one of the best arms that they added to their pen. Mike Hazen took an absolutely terrible situation, an organization that had dreams, goals of making the playoffs and going on another run, spending tons of money, adding Corbin Burns, putting together an absolutely fearless back end of the bullpen with A.J. Puck and Justin Martinez and Kevin Ginkel, and a lineup with Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez and Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte and Perdomo and Moreno, Pavin Smith. They put together a high-quality team with the intent to go for it. It didn't work out. We were crushed all year long, each passing day, when we realized that they were not going to hit those goals. So this is not a day we thought was going to come. But Mike Hazen did his absolute best job here in turning this prospect system around. And again, these are not prospects that you're going to have to wait until 2028 or 2029 to see participate at the big league level. You're going to get answers pretty quickly. I have a pretty good feeling that by the end of the 2025 season, you're going to feel one way or another about Tyler Locklear being the starting first baseman for this squad next season. You're going to be like, you know what? I want to see this kid as the starting first baseman, or I'm not sold. You're going to know because you're going to get 2 months of them down the stretch of the season here. Cole Drake, Mitch Bratt, I don't know if they'll get starts here towards the back part of the season. Feel like more early on in 2026 options, but guys that can fill the rotation vacancies that this organization has. And bullpen help on the fly in Brandon Garcia, a lefty, Juan Burgos, a righty, who I love the stuff. I love the under-the-hood metrics of not walking a ton of guys, striking out a bunch of guys. I love that. Andrew Hoffman, a plus pitch with his changeup, a solid fastball, a good slider. Again, just adding options for Torey Lovello next season in 2026. Yes, I said Torey Lovello next season in 2026 out there in the bullpen. Grades, I think, are somewhat of a foolish endeavor, although we'll talk about them today. We'll tell you what other people are saying, and I'll participate. I think it's hard to give a grade on this because you don't know what these players are going to be. I don't know. I'll tell you what, it's an A+ if they get a starter in their rotation out of the pitchers that they picked up. If they get 2 bullpen arms and Locklear is their starting first baseman, that's an A++. But the way I want to give out my grade on the job that Mike Hazen has done is not based on how these players pan out, but in the moment, what I think about the direction he chose to take this franchise and the players that he prioritized. And for that, he gets an A+. Mike Hazen made a decision. He made a decision that this team can still be competitive and be relevant and have a chance in 2026. Not to be what they were supposed to be on paper this year, but to be a fringe wildcard team. Why can't they be the Cincinnati Reds next season? Why can't they be potentially just on the outside looking in? And one small move, one small upgrade at the deadline, potentially giving them a run in August and September. I don't know if any of these prospects are going to mean anything. I don't know if they're going to work out. But what I do know is Mike Hazen prioritized players that were close to the big league level, players that were close to contributing for their respective clubs. And they added a first baseman. They added multiple starting pitching options and bullpen arms. And I can already see it I can peer out of the corner of my eye, and I can see people already on the YouTube channel questioning my A+. The reason why this gets an A+ for me is because 3 weeks ago, when we were talking about what the vision should be for the Diamondbacks at the deadline, this is the case we made. This is what we outlined. Prioritize pitching prospects. Prioritize positional prospects that were close to the big league level, that were landlocked in their current situations. Tyler Locklear was landlocked in Seattle. Once they acquired Josh Naylor, where was he going to play? He couldn't play third, which was his position in college. So he's either a DH or a first baseman. Well, they've got Josh Naylor at first base. They didn't have room for him, at least in the short to medium term. These pitching prospects, close to big league ready. Do they have super high ceilings? Are these future Cy Young candidates? It doesn't feel like that based on what I'm reading. But did you get really high floor pitchers that have a solid ceiling of maybe being, I don't know, a Merrill Kelly type? I think you did that. Now, it has to pan out. If it doesn't pan out, you can clown on me and you can say they had a bad deadline. But in the moment, as we sit here, this is exactly what I wanted Mike Hazen in this organization to do. This is exactly the direction I wanted them to take. So I give it an A+. And I'm ready. It's a Friday. I'm ready for the arrows to be thrown my direction for giving it an A+, for being glass half full. But they just added 5 top 15 prospects to their system, and not guys that are going to take 2 years, guys that are going to be one way or another contributors next season or this season. You're going to know. You're going to get an answer very quickly on whether or not this panned out. So I'm ready for the arrows today, Producer Evan. I'm ready.
Listen,
they're coming.
The A+ may be a tad aggressive, just a tad, because it's always hard to tell what it's going to look like before these guys make the majors, right? And do I think they did a nice job of getting pieces? Yes. Do I look at the Eugenio Suarez trade and say, hey, maybe they didn't get enough there? Certainly. But like you said, it's watching the full movie, but you have to watch from beginning to end. Now make your assessment. Did they win the trade deadline? No, they weren't the winners. Did they do a nice job with given their situation? Certainly.
And I think they set themselves up. They saved money. By the way, the underrated part of the Shelby Miller, Jordan Montgomery move is they saved money. And all of the money that they saved here at the deadline by trading these contracts, reportedly, if we believe the reports that are out there, and I tend to believe the reports that are out there, that money is going to be reinvested into future contracts. That money is now going to get to be added on to the books for next season. So for those of you like me that are a little worried about the money coming down, perhaps it will be a higher payroll than even I think it will be, because they can take these funds that they saved and apply them to next season, which would mean that while not being big spenders to the level that they were with Corbin Burns, do I think Mike Hazen is going to be adding here in the offseason? Yes. And so that's why what he did here gave him a bit of a jump start. He has options now. If the starting pitching market is slow developing and he's able to strike, he can do so. If it's a little more aggressive than he is comfortable, guess what? He has Cole Drake. He has Mitch Bratt. He has David Hageman, guys that he could potentially turn to in 2026. Again, I don't know what these players are going to be, but he has options, choices, maneuverability. That's what this deadline also afforded Mike Hazen this winter in 2026.
I mean, they saved north of $15 million on Jordan Montgomery.
So they owed him 20-something million. I think up to this point, they've paid 15 or so million. What I saw from reporting is that deal saved them around $3 million.
Oh, really?
That's what I've seen.
I saw 10.
I don't think it's that much because we're past the halfway point. We're past, 81 of 162. So he was owed 20-something, 22, I think, for this season.
22.75,
so
right?
So more than half of it's been paid to him already, even though he's been on the shelf. So I think based on what's left for the remainder of the season, you prorate it out, they probably saved a couple of $1 million. In total, they probably saved double digits, millions of dollars for next season. That's a good thing.
That's what I was looking at. But I think they saved about $10 to $12 million for the deadline.
And that money, according to reports, is going to be allocated for next season. So that's $10 to $12 million in addition to wherever. So let's play this out. I know we're up against it. We're just going to blow past the clock today. We're just going on the fly. They were at $190 million before the trade deadline. I think they got it down to about 180 after making all these moves, 184, 180, something like that. Let's say next season, they saved $10 million. Let's say next season, the budget can be 130 or 140, right? I said 135 to 155 was my prediction, but let's go in the middle, go 140, 145. I think right now for next season, they have about 100 on the books. It's about $40 million that Mike Hazen can spend. Maybe if you add the 10 million back in, it's $50 million that he can spend. Is he going to be able to get Corbin Burns or a Corbin Burns type player? No. But is he going to be able to add on the margins? Could he add a high upside starter? Yeah, sure. He could do that. Could he add to this bullpen that's going to need some work? Yeah, he could do that. Offensively, we think this team is relatively okay. You don't really need a ton of work there. So there is some maneuverability for Mike Hazen. There is some maneuverability for the Diamondbacks, and that's why I give this such high grades. Again, I am not predicting an A+ because these players are going to be superstars. I give it an A+ because I love the vision. I love the message that is being sent. Mike Hazen is telling you 2026 is not a year they're punting on. They're not giving up on 2026. They could have very easily, in all these trades, got prospects that were in low A or high A that have higher ceilings and lower floors and are already in 28, 29, 30. They could have done that. They could have made that choice. And guess what? More teams probably would have been willing to part with those players because those are future lottery tickets. That's a path that could have been taken. But we have long said that we did not think that was the path that should have been taken and the path that they would take. And yesterday was proof that 2026, it is still game on for this organization. And so that should get you excited. Be frustrated, disappointed, upset that this season way the went that it was. But applaud the pivot that was done here in the middle of it all to set up for what I think should be a fun offseason.